we're talking about theories of dynamic equilibrium. Okay. Now, in this, one idea is the idea of Gilbert, who says landform is a balance between a driving force and the resistant force. Driving force is endogenic and resistant force is the weight. Okay, so he give examples of laccolith, जो आपको मैंने पढ़ाया क्लास में, the principle of least energy. Now, we also have another theory given by J.T. Hack. He says the balance is between the rock hardness and the erosion. So I have a rock, the rock hardness is the resistance and the erosion by the agents. Okay, this is the erosive force. In dono ka balance is this landform. This theory is also called as the lithological control of morphology. The landform is, and you need not mention this. Zaruri nahi hai bataye aap. Okay. So the theory is saying that the rate of erosion versus the rock hardness, this will decide the type of landform. So this is one of the theories of equilibrium. This is another theory of equilibrium. A third theory bhi hai. This is the Stroller's theory. He says that the equilibrium is between weathered sediments and the slope angle for efficient removal of weathered sediments. Okay. Equilibrium is between the weathered sediments and the slope angle of the face for efficient removal of weathered sediments. Matlab ye hai that the primary function, what this basically means is that the primary function of the slope is removal of sediments. Okay, what I mean by this is, what he's saying is, agar koi slope mein, if the sediments are more, the slope automatically will become steep. Taki sediments can be removed. If a slope has less sediments, then the slope automatically will become gentle. Okay. So the primary is theory ka balance theory yahi hai. The primary function of the slope is to remove sediments. If the sediments are more, the slope will adjust according to the sediments, become steep. Agar sediments kam hoga, it will become gentle. So more sediments, okay, then there will be steep slopes. If it is less sediments, you'll have, you'll have less steepness. Therefore, he says that slope angle is not a function of age. Slope angle is not a function of a rock type. Koi zaruri nahi hai. Okay. What was Davis telling us? That young slope will be steep and old slopes will be flat. Young slopes, mountains, and you have the old slopes, Sinai, they'll be flat. So Davis says slope angle is function of age. Okay. Whereas Stoller says no, it's not. Okay. The slope angle is a function of the sediments. So Aditya, this is like a principle. Okay. The nature mein ye balance hai. The sediments have to be removed. Therefore he says that slopes jisme ki vegetation hota hai, the sediments are less. Therefore such slopes will be gentle. Slopes which are bare slopes. Okay. Isme we don't have vegetation. It will have more sediments. These slopes will be steep slopes. Okay? So equilibrium theory ke alag-alag forms hain. Like I said, I don't think they will ask you this question, but know the concepts. They can always ask you slope development factors kya hain. And this can be one paragraph. One is Gilbert's idea, wo ek paragraph ban sakta hai. Second is rock hardness and erosion can be a paragraph. And this can be an idea. Yes, ये तो अलग हो गया ना. Question तो आपका ये वाला पूछ रहा है. Question is about this one. Okay. Yeah, landform as in this feature. The relationship between erosion and rock hardness. If the rock hardness is more, the landform will not change much. If the land is softer, this is in reality what we refer to as the process of a differential erosion. Because soft rocks honge, they get eroded more. Okay, so it's not about age of rock. Okay, age kuch bhi ho, agar soft rock hoga, zyada erosion ho jayega. Agar hard rock hoga, less erosion hoga. That's why it's called as the lithological control of morphology. हम आपको दिखा देते हैं. Yes, उसी का version is JT hack. Okay, so look at this one here, page number 75. If you're carrying your textbook of geomorphology, it is page number 75. It is resistant force. Rock hardness is the resistant force. Geomorphic model of JT Hack. American geomorphologist, dynamic equilibrium. There's a energy balance between factors controlling landscape, denudation process, and example of open geomorphic system. It's based on the morphological system. Okay, Hack's model is an open system. The energy remains constant. Okay, time independent, lithological adjustment to the landforms. The forms and processes are related to difference in the rocks and the processes acting on them. It says the forms and processes. Last line there. The lithological adjustment to the landforms. They're the topographical forms and the processes are closely related to the difference in the rocks and the processes acting on them. Okay, the goal was the present denudation process operating therein demonstrate the lithological adjustments. Okay, the balance between a resistance of the underlying material to erosion and the erosive energy of the active process. Yehi uthaya sentence humne. Okay, the basic principle is the balance between denudation and rock resistance. Rock resistance is hardness of rock. There's uniform rate of downcutting. The process operates this. The difference in characteristics of form are explicable in terms of relationship in which geological patterns are the primary considerations. So whatever we have as landforms, they are the consequence of geological patterns in terms of lithological properties. Landforms do experience changes, which change equilibrium and so on. So आपके यही 4-5 lines हैं that the landforms are the consequence of the denudation process acting on the rock hardness. Example दे सकते हो, soft rock, hard rock, granitic rock, sandstone rocks. The features of differential erosion. Hard rocks become eroded more as the less, and soft rocks are eroded more. Okay, and then maybe compare that with the Gilbert model, compare that with ideas of maybe Stoller. Which book is this? This is Geomorphology, Savindra Singh, page number 75. Aditya, hard rock जो है वो है resisting force. So बस यही याद रखना. Gilbert talks about the resistance as the rock ka weight. The superincumbent weight is the resistance. And the driving force is the magma rising up. इस case में है rock hardness is resistance and the denudation is the process of changes. They can, Aditya, but less likely. I may anticipate, अगर पूछेगा, I anticipate a generic question on dynamic equilibrium. और अगर पूछेगा तो लिख लेना, इतना ही लिख के आना, कोई बात 10-15 mark में 1.5 page is good enough. Okay. So page 75 if you want to refer to. Any other question you want to discuss with me? Yes. Yes, Stoller. Stoller से बाकी लिख देना, don't leave it. Okay. Because see, Gilbert and Hack, they are talking about landform. Okay. Stoller talks about a slope angle. So question number 10 जो है, okay, 10 वाला is more about Stoller. But you can write a paragraph or two on what is Gilbert saying and what is JT Hack saying. It gives the answer its completeness. That's the idea. Start with Stoller, end in Gilbert. Okay, so that you have a additional point बाद में. Otherwise, you will write more Gilbert, less Stoller. If you want to refer to the Stoller वाला angle जो है, it is page number 289. I don't know in the new book. इस यही page होगा शायद. देखो, it says concept of A and Stoller. The chapter of hill slope, chapter 15. देखो 15. Same page है, page number 289. Okay, ये वाला discussion. After a detailed study of the slope profiles, okay, the valley side slopes are positively correlated with channel slope. Okay, gentle slopes यहाँ पर है. The vegetation covered valley sides would generate less debris because of low degree of denudation, and hence gradient would be gentle. Okay? So this paragraph, page number 289 ka, this paragraph and this paragraph. Aditya, it's all about steam. Steam, gas, lava deposits, lava rocks, pH value of the lava rocks. The Pelian type will have lot of steam. They are the ones which are the phreatic eruptions. Okay, pasty lava, it's there straight, Aditya. Let me not waste time on those questions, please. Volcanism wala page dekhna. Okay. I'll have to limit something. No, I cannot teach entire geomorphology yahi baith kar. I can tell you the section and page. Yeah, page number 201. 201, classification of the eruptions. Okay, Stromboli type, Volcanian type, and Pelian type. It's about is two factors. One is amount of moisture and amount of pasty lava. Pasty hai and thick and sticky hai. Okay. People, you can, no problem. If you want to do it, you can do it, no problem. Anybody else, any questions? Polycyclic, yes, the cycle concept jo hai na, वो ज़्यादा यूज किया जाता है for rivers. Though we do have cycle concept even for your marine and also for karst. But when they ask you polycyclic, write more about the rivers. Okay. Rejuvenation was example of polycyclic. A systems concept. Acha, theek hai. I'll discuss. Question number 4. Let me check. Hydraulic geometry. Come on, RJ. This is a very basic question from channel morphology. Okay. इसमें मेरा पूरा class चला जाएगा. Okay, the relationship of the cross section, the velocity, the depth, Madoc. Okay, so ये आप अपने आप करेंगे 4. It should be in any basic. Now, see, one suggestion to all of you: those who feel they lack content in their basic foundation course, you please take our notes from the office. Okay, we have compiled last year's class notes into 3 booklets. And you read from that. Each class, if I teach, I am trapped here. Anamika, skip that. वो पूछ चुके हैं periglacial. Okay, they will not ask again. This time, my guess is they might ask you on arid cycle or something on the arid landscape. So periglacial cycle आप ये पूछ चुका है, दोबारा नहीं पूछेगा. Okay, I'll take up systems concept because ठीक है, that's a possible question. Okay, systems concept. Concept in geomorphology. Okay, I'll do this fast. You keep listening to this. The systems concept jo hai, it's about visualizing geomorphic processes as a consequence of interacting factors and acting as a part of a larger working process. कोई भी system वो क्या होता है? A system is lot of interacting factors. They all are working together and they work together as a part of a larger working process. सब एक साथ काम कर रहे हैं. There is a component, the components are related. There is a boundary, the closed boundary, open boundary. So I believe you know what systems concept is. This concept of systems was given by Ludwig von Bertalanffy. Okay, Ludwig von V-O-N. Ludwig von Bertalanffy. B-E-R-T-A-L-A-N-F-F-Y. Bertalanffy. And the systems concept was introduced into geomorphology and into geography by B.J.L. Berry and Richard Shorley. By B.J.L. Berry and Richard Shorley. Both of them English geographers. Okay. So what, and they did this in 1960s. And what they did was, they went back and studied the geomorphic models given earlier in terms of systems concept. Okay. So what is geomorphic system? A system is a set of interacting factors working as a part of a larger working model, working process, and these names. So now what they're saying is that the systems can be of 2 types. Or 2 types kya hai? They can be closed systems anything, closed systems, or they can be open systems. जब कोई system closed होता है, उसका 4-5 property होता है. In a closed system, there can be no intermediate, manipulation. Closed systems are always unidirectional. They can terminate only at the end. The process of a closed system is predictable. In a closed system, there is finality of the end product. जब भी कोई system closed system है, उसके ये properties हैं. There can be no intermediate manipulation. You can't enter and regulate because it's closed. You can't enter, you can't come out. You can't regulate. In a closed system, there is no regulation. Because no regulation, if it starts once, it'll keep on moving ahead till the energy is completely over. Think of a ball is falling. The ball is falling and I don't intervene. क्या होगा? वो गिरता जाएगा until it hits the ground and energy becomes zero. So in a closed system, the change is always in one direction. आप इसको उल्टा नहीं कर सकते. If I release the ball will not go back again. It'll keep on falling down in one direction. And the falling will stop only when it hits the ground. बीच में अपने आप नहीं रुकने वाला. It is unidirectional. It will terminate only at the end. End में ही खत्म होगा. And end में क्या होने वाला है? That also I know. End में ये होगा गिरकर it will stop. I exactly know. In fact, I can also predict. I can use an equation and tell you in 1 second how much distance, in 5 seconds how much distance. I can use the formula, no? S equal to ut plus half at square. So in a closed system, I can predict the process. I can have a final end product. And in a closed system, the system always moves towards least energy and maximum entropy. It always moves towards least energy and maximum entropy. Entropy का मतलब होता है free energy. Free energy cannot do work. Which can do work? Zero energy or high energy? Which can do work? High or zero energy? High energy. Zero energy can't do work. वैसे which can do work? A free energy or bound energy? Bound can do work. Example, I think of a spring. The spring को आप बांध देते हो, then it can expand and do work. अगर release कर दिया, it cannot do any work. So release का मतलब है free energy. Free energy cannot do work. So in a closed system, it'll always move towards least energy and maximum entropy. Entropy means the amount of free energy. In case of open system, ये ठीक उल्टा होगा. Open systems में, there is manipulation. There is manipulation. मतलब आप घुस के change कर सकते. The ball is falling. I enter. I hold the ball. I can take the ball like this. I can take the ball like this. I can raise the ball. I can tie it forever. I can again release. I can do whatever I want to do. Because in the open system, I can enter and start changing. In open system, it is not unidirectional. It can go any direction. I can have an engine. It can go in any direction. It can reverse also. In open system, there is no final end. गिरता रहेगा, मैंने बीच में रोक दिया. Or it will keep on falling for infinite time. There is no end. There is no final thing here. And this is not predictable because I do not know how you will manipulate. So an open system is not predictable. An open system, there is no final product. An open system, there is no state of least energy. Therefore, there is no energy. Sorry, there is no entropy maximization. There is no entropy maximization. It'll keep on changing. It'll keep on changing. Okay. Now, this idea was used for Davis and Penk's model. So Davis क्या बोलते हैं? Davis says erosion starts. Erosion will go on until the river hits the base level, which means what? It'll keep on eroding until it reaches the final low energy, जो base level पे है. Okay, the river can't go back. The mountain can't rise again. Okay, the river will move in a predictable way. पहले youth ही होगा, फिर mature ही होगा, senile. I can predict that. I also know the final product will be a penny plane. ये तो हम discuss किया last time. That if the model is a closed system, Davis model अगर सही cycle का concept है, it is bound to have a penny plane. याद आ रहा है discussion? That's what it's saying. So Davis, if you look at the features here, these features are very similar to Davis model. Davis model can't be manipulated. Davis model, it's always unidirectional. There is definitely a final terminus point. I can predict the final penny plane. I can, process is mappable. This is a Davis model. And open systems jo hai, all of these are dynamic systems. In dynamic systems, there's constant change. There's no finality. In a dynamic system, you can't predict kaise hone wala hai. Okay? So they may ask you this one, but if they ask you compare, contrast Davis, add paragraph, that's all. That Davis model is an example of closed system and add few points. And Penk's model and all process theories are examples of open systems. That's all. Okay. So, agar aapko dekhna hai, yes, open system. Any dynamic theory, any process-oriented theory will be open system. So, closed system में एक ही example हमारे पास है, Davis, and to some extent L.C. King. L.C. King also believes in the stages. L.C. King also says end product is the peddy plane. याद आ रहा है? So Davis and L.C. King are the only examples of closed system. बाकी सारे models जो हैं ये open systems. Okay. So if you want to look this up, in brief, ये सब additional है. Don't do all of this at the expense of the other concepts. Page number 12 and page number 13. Geomorphology, page number 12, page 12, and page 13. यहाँ पर है systems concept. Yes, yes. End-rumph is not the final product. End-rumph is the product of waning phase. Where the upliftment is decelerating and the erosion is more. So it is not, end-rumph is not final. Remember this. It's a phase, that's all. End-rumph can be again replaced by a phase of constant growth also. For Penck, the waning phase, the phase of constant growth, and the waxing phase, ये तीनों sequential नहीं है. It's not that कि पहले waxing ही होगा. It's not that पहले growth ही होगा, not necessarily. वो तीन phase है, that's all. There are three possible phases. So here we have general systems theory, Buttle and Phi, and the balance input energy, system state, R.J. Shorley, open systems, Davis geomorphic cycle, example of a closed system. It begins with input, there's progressive changes, resulting in minimum height. Now there may be temporary increase of energy, this is an aberration. In the pure Davis model, there is no change in height. In a pure Davis model, there is no change of rejuvenation. An open system, there's continuous renewal of energy. It can attain a steady state, but there is no finality. So something here, otherwise go with the class notes. Right then, that's this one. Now, one of you asked me about a sinusity index. This was a possible question. Now, देखो, what are the types of channels? What are the types of channels? Types of channels or types of streams, you can classify them on the basis of type of landscape they flow through. Classify them on the basis of type of landscape that they flow through. They can be alluvial channels or they can be bedrock channels. Alluvial channel का मतलब है soft rocks, soft soil, sediments. The rivers can erode. Alluvial channels can have shifting, braiding. Alluvial channels will have more depositions, more sediments. Like think of rivers of the northern plains. Bedrock channel का मतलब क्या होता है? A channel that flows through hard rocks, resistant rocks, which flow through granite, gneiss. So bedrock channels are like the rivers of the peninsular plateau. Alluvial channels can meander. Alluvial channels can have braiding. Alluvial channels can have sedimentation. They will form large deltas. Bedrock channels will not have braiding. The streams are structurally controlled. अगर hard rock है तो घूम जाएगा, soft rock है तो काट देगा. Bedrock channel is about the hard type of rocks. That's one way. Second classification is we can classify on the basis of type of sediments and load. They can have streams which have bed load, streams which have suspended load. Okay. Generally, alluvial channels will have suspended load. वो पानी में रहता है. Okay. Bed load is on the floor. Hard rocks, big rocks, ये floor में रह जाएगा. And you can have a mix also. We call them as mixed channels then. So on the basis of sediments and loads, they can be bed load channels, they can be suspended load channels, and they can be mixed load channels. Okay? The third is on the basis of a sinusity index. On the basis of a sinusity index. Let me explain this. Ab dekho, this is a river. This is a river. Okay. Say I draw a straight line like this along the margins of the banks. ये जो length है, इस length को बोलते हैं valley length. This is the length of the valley. Okay. And if I measure the length along the river, I call that as channel length. Okay. If a river is straight, matlab the valley length is equal to the channel length. If the river is sinuous or turning, इसमें क्या होगा? The channel length is more than the valley length. So the SI index hai, SI index is the length of channel by length of the valley. It tells us about whether a river will meander or not. Is the measure of a river is meandering or is it a straight river? उसके कुछ parameters hai. So I will open the page for all of you now. Here, Geomorphology, page 406 and page 407. Okay, here it is. Leopold and Wallman. Leopold and Wallman. There are three types of channels. Okay, straight channels, sinuous channels, and meandering channels. SI is LC by LV. Length of channel by length of valley. Okay. If SI, next page, if SI is less than 1.05, it's a straight channel. If it is more than 1.05 but less than 1.5, it is sinuous channel. If it's more than 1.5, it is meandering channel. That's all. It's a ratio. It's a ratio used in classification of rivers on the basis of meandering or sinuosity. इसके दो तीन और values भी हैं, but आप इतना रखो. ये देखो, we have Schwamm's classification. Suspended load channels, mixed load channels, and bed load channels. If you look at the previous page, there are two types of channels: alluvial channel and bedrock channel. So page 404 has bedrock and alluvial channels, and page 406 has all of this. Okay. Now see, अब जो question होगा, the question is, yes, Saurav, obviously no river is perfectly straight, no. अगर perfectly straight होगा, then SI is equal to 1. तभी SI equal to 1 है. अगर bending है, it will become more than 1. It's understandable, Saurav. अब आपको करना क्या है? This is your smartness. If they ask you applied geomorphology से questions पूछा on river और hydrology पे पूछा, you can say this, that the vulnerability of an area to channel changes, the vulnerability of a stream with respect to floods depends on its channel morphology. So meandering rivers, SI more than 1.5 are more prone to floods. Okay? Rivers which have more of bedrock sediments, matlab hard rocks hain. Bedrock sediments channels will not have too much of bank breach or meandering. The alluvial channels, because of sediments, they can have siltation and floods. Got the point here? Alluvial channels will have problems of, the banks can break, meandering can happen, river shifting can happen. Ye applied part hai. Okay, discuss, सिर्फ ask a question here. Ask a question here. Discuss, जो पूछा भी हुआ था, say channel-based disasters on the basis of channel morphology, or simply discuss planning of streams and channels for transportation, for agriculture, for settlement. जो भी पूछना है पूछें. आप ऐड कर दो that the type of channel based on alluvial or bedrock, type of channel based on SI index, type of channel based on type of load can decide different types of vulnerability. And then you're on. आप बताओ ना. Okay, which type of rivers? If I make a table on this, okay, say we have meandering river, we have a straight river. Okay, we have an alluvial channel, we have a bedrock channel. Okay, talk about floods, talk about sedimentation. Okay, you can talk about a river shifting. Okay, a river shifting. Talk about say a bank breach, banks breach. आप बताओ किसमें होने वाला है? Meandering rivers, yes, floods. More sediments, okay. Again, meandering में. You have got river shifting, again in this. In case of straight channels, straight channels, straight channels, straight channels. Alluvial channels, yes, you'll have all of the problem. So can't link this with SI index now. What type of a river will you prefer for transportation? What type of river? Straight channels for transportation. In terms of bedrock and alluvial, what will you prefer? What type of channel is preferable for transportation? Bedrock में बच्चे waterfalls हो जाएंगे. Hard resistant rocks है ना. So alluvial channels में, okay, the problem will be dredging problems, but will not have waterfalls. Bedrock channels are good for developing dams downstream. Okay, I hope you got the point, all of you. आप तो सुन तो रहे हो, jotting नहीं कर रहे हो, भूल जाओगे. Applied geomorphology में, I'm relating some of the vulnerability and usefulness in terms of channel types. Okay, अब ये बना लो ना घर में जाके, think through it. Don't need a book for all of this. For heaven's sake, common sense है. Meandering में floods होगा, meandering में the sediments होंगे, meandering will have more river shifting, meandering will have bank breach. The banks can break because of more water. Straight channels, none of this. Okay. Alluvial channels, again, all the problems. For river transportation, you cannot have on bedrock channels because bedrock channels will have rapids, waterfalls along the lower course. ठीक है, आप बताओ irrigation systems किसमें better होगा? Which is good for irrigation construction? Alluvial channels. आप canal dig करेंगे, right? Okay, alluvial channels will have good groundwater resources also. बस इतना हो गया, आपका 2 पैराग्राफ हो गया यार. Channel morphology and applied concepts of geomorphology. ठीक है? Okay, fine. We spend some time on geomorphology. Anything else? I think it's closed now, all of you. Okay, what are and question अगर याद किया, revise करते रहना. You have got 30-40 answers now. Okay. अच्छा, now listen. The next topic is physical geography of India. Physical geography में I will focus more on land, rocks. Okay, I will ignore for now monsoons because monsoons water हम करा देंगे as a part of climatology. वो related हो, ठीक है? So you focus more on your topics of rocks, physical features. Talk about your earthquakes. Okay, आप उस पे focus करना. Let's start off now. So I have given you the set of questions for paper for practice 2. Okay, ये है आपके सारे answers हो चुके होंगे upload. Okay, changing river course and impact on riparian population. इसमें कुछ पढ़ाना नहीं है. You just have some example data case study you are on. इनमें क्या पढ़ाना है? रिवर कोर्स चेंज हो रहा है, हाँ लोग मर रहे हैं और क्या होगा, एग्रीकल्चर इंपैक्ट हो गया, बट एग्जाम्पल के साथ है, एग्जाम्पल ऑफ रिवर कोसी. ओके, you can go back in terms of Harappan civilization, the shift of Saraswati and what happened. Okay. Evidence of the ongoing process of Himalayan upliftment. How do we know Himalayas are still uplifting? Okay, because of earthquakes, okay, because there are active faults, okay, because there are uplifted dry lakes. We find the of Pleistocene life forms in the higher heights. Take a straight questions. Flash floods in Himalayas. Okay, so GOLF and the rest is about channel morphology. Okay, about moraine dams. Okay, GLOF and all of that. Okay. La Nina आप छोड़ सकते हो because it's about the climate part. Wastelands form the core of degraded lands in India. How are these wastelands created? इसमें ध्यान ये रहे, when we talk about wasteland, you must talk more in the context of human factors along with climatic aspects. Agriculture is a factor, mining is a factor, pollution is a factor. Okay, उसके साथ बात बताना कि there are dry areas, there are semi-arid regions, marginal land and whatever. The desertification topic पूछा हुआ है, I know, but be ready for it again. Okay, the glacial control shapes the drainage patterns. Okay, sorry, the geological controls, hard rock, soft rock, uniform rock. ये मैंने लास्ट टाइम बता दिया था, steep slopes हैं, क्या हैं, ठीक है? So you look this up, straight answers हैं. I would discuss these questions. These 5 are my agenda. Let's start off now. Okay. Question लिखो आप. Geohydrological characteristics with climate change can be a potent, serious disaster hazards for the country. Geological characteristics with climate change can be a potent disaster hazard for the country. Geological characteristics with climate change can be a potent, serious hazard for the country. बताओ हम क्या, what am I asking here? Let's see. Anybody? What are we asking you to write on? Anybody? इस question में क्या पूछ रहा है? अब कह रहे हो point बनेगा. I'm not saying no, but what is the question asking you? पूरा zero. The question is not about hydrological cycle at all. दोबारा पढ़ो. Yes, you're right. You have. आप लोग क्या करते हो ना, आप लोग एक पॉइंट पकड़ा देते हो. मैं बोल रहा हूं मुझे मकान क्या है समझाओ, आप बोलते हो सर सर दिस इज वुडन ब्लॉक, सर दिस इज एन आयरन रॉड. व्हाट इज हाउस समझाओ ना. हाउस में यस विंडो आएगा, हाउस में यस ब्रिक भी आएगा, बट टेल मी व्हाट इज द क्वेश्चन आस्किंग. एग्जांपल्स नहीं देना है. irrespective, why are you all saying hydrological cycle? क्यों बोल रहे हो यार? hydrological देखते. The word is geohydrological. See, I was teaching an essay class this morning. I said, आप जब answer लिखो ना, have 3 assumptions. The reader is a stupid man, so you must explain properly. The reader is a lazy man, so ठीक से बताओ ताकि वो सही point पकड़ ले, वो ढूंढना नहीं पड़े उसको. And the reader is a mean man, so do not write anything wrong, वरना वो zero कर देगा. So explain it to me like a layman. So if I'm explaining to you what the topic is saying essentially is, yes, climate change is a problem. Climate change, yes, droughts होता है. Climate change, floods होता है. Climate change, heat waves होता है. Climate change, cyclones होता है. Climate change, I can have cloud bursts. Climate change can lead to maybe pandemics or whatever. That's okay. But the bigger concern is कि climate change के साथ में, if I have geological and hydrological issues combining, the problem becomes bigger. The problem is not cyclone alone. Okay, is not cyclones alone. The problem is cyclones, heavy rainfall along the coast, which probably has very steep slopes, heavy rainfall, cloudburst in areas where there is not much of groundwater percolation, heavy rainfall in areas where the soil is loose and the slopes are steep. Less rainfall in areas जहां पर geology has very less groundwater, वो problem हो जाता है. So problem is not simply climate change. The problem of climate change aggravates when I add geological factors and hydrological factors. समझ आ रहे हैं यहाँ पर? So heavy rains plus soft sediments, ये problem है. Heavy rains plus steep slopes, ये problem है. We have got heavy rains plus bad drainage. This is a problem. Say less rains plus no groundwater because of geological factors. That is a problem. Is it okay, all of you? Okay. So I have heavy rains. Okay. Increased water discharge plus alluvial channels. Now this is a problem. आपका आंसर कहाँ है बताओ? A में है कि B में है? कहाँ पर होगा आंसर? Which is the core of the question? The heavy rainfall is core, or this is the core, B वाला part. कौन सा core है? This is the core of the question. दोबारा question पढ़ो. Geohydrological characteristics with climate change can be a potent, serious disaster hazard for the country. Is it okay, all of you? So dry conditions plus El Nino. Okay, in areas which have marginal soils and poor water resources, यहां पर हो जाएगा soil erosion. This will lead to a desertification. No rainfall or dry conditions, plus high temperatures and continentality in absence of streams. This will be heat wave. Is it okay? But heat wave थोड़ी आप सुनते हो everywhere. जहाँ पर कम moisture है, कम पानी है, continuous dry conditions है, and extreme temperatures. Those areas will have heat waves. You don't hear heat waves in Mumbai or Chennai or parts of Bangalore, or you see that in Rajasthan, in parts of Western UP, in parts of Northern UP, and so on. Is it okay? So again, heavy rains, plus a high discharge plus narrow channels. This is floods. This is Brahmaputra. अब बनेगा आपका आंसर? लिख लो all of you, please. Write down. इसको आपको समझाना होगा in your answers. Heavy rains plus soft sediments. You'll have landslides. You'll have downstream floods. Heavy rains and steep slopes. Rapid discharge hoga. Is what happened for Kedarnath. What happens from parts of Rishi Ganga. Heavy rains and bad drainage. यही हुआ है राजस्थान के बाड़मेर region में भी. Barmaid has limestone rocks. The water cannot percolate down. Okay? This happens for bad drainage, happens for urban areas. आपने pavement कर दिया. You have changed the natural hydrological processes. Urban floods, flash floods lead to flash floods, urban floods, rainfall, and no groundwater because of geological factors. यही तो होता है peninsular plateau में. यही होता है the black cotton soil region. We will have droughts. ना rainfall है, ना stream में पानी है, और ना ही groundwater है. Fine. Heavy rains. Okay, plus I said alluvial channels. Okay, plus increasing water downstream results in again floods. Okay, dry conditions. El Nino. Okay, plus I said poor conditions of water. Okay, you'll have soil erosion because dry conditions में ज़्यादा erosion होता है. Marginal soils and erosion. Okay? Now, what does the answer structure look like? Answer structure जो है, ये कैसे दिखेगा? Start the answer by climate change has major hazards. In recent times, temperatures have increased, resulting in cyclones, resulting in heat waves, in flash floods. Okay? ये पहला है कि yes, climate change impacts India. El Nino, La Nina, इस बार El Nino है, and so on. Second is that climate change plus the geological aspects plus hydrology. This makes a region more vulnerable. उसके बाद the actual body starts. You can group this into 3 or 4 types. डाल दो इसको. Okay, so talk about this. Heavy rains, steep slopes, soft sediments is one type. Heavy rains, poor drainage is one type. Heavy rains and alluvial channels and narrow channels. What happens here? Okay. Fourth, less rains and poor groundwater. What happens here? बस चार में खत्म करो और क्या थोड़ी लिखना है. Okay, so this is your third part of the body. The fourth part, you can add now that the problem is climate change plus geohydrological issues plus a human. You're concluding. What makes an area more vulnerable are the human factors also. Okay? Deforestation, encroachment of river basins, urban construction and pavement. Okay. So this aggravates the problems. Okay. So solutions. Solutions will be along with climate change related forecasting. We also need geohydrological vulnerability mapping also. And we have done this, about groundwater mapping, no? We have the Bhujal mapping scheme that we have for groundwater. Kahan par hai, nahi hai. We need to classify slopes according to landslides vulnerability. Solution lies in forestation programs along the hills. That's all. The 5 sections and फिर आप ये दोनों combine भी कर सकते हो if you want to combine this. All of you put a case study. केदारनाथ floods और Bangalore floods. Biparjoy के बारे में लिख देना. Okay. It ravaged the parts of, and the vulnerability was more again because of the water can't percolate down. Loss of mangroves also aggravates. Finish it off. Okay. The next question. Is it okay, all of you online? देखो, we can't expect कि आप बिना question पढ़े लिखो. Don't just see regular words and say, हाँ, I know it. Okay. Study each word. क्या बोलना चाह रहा है? Fine. The next question. The distribution of rocks of various ages reflects the geographical setting of different regions in India. The distribution of rocks of various ages reflects geographical setting of different regions in India. Elaborate. This question is very similar to question number 4. I'll tell you what difference is. What is asking us is the rocks of different age, they reflect the geographical setting. What do I mean by geographical setting? What do I mean by geographical setting? Basically, geographical features like elevations, like steepness of slopes, like what type of soils are there, like what type of minerals are there, like what type of vulnerability we have. What is geographical setting of any place? ये करोल बाग का या दिल्ली का geographical setting बताओ क्या है? What type of rocks? What type of resources? Tell me about lithology of the rocks. Tell me about the elevation and so on. ठीक है? Relate the geographical setting of the regions with the types of rocks and their age. यही is the tricky part. So when I say geographical setting, I basically mean what is the geographical characteristics in terms of rocks and rock property, in terms of slopes, in terms of associated soils, in terms of associated groundwater, in terms of what type of minerals, and because of this, what type of human activities. Geographical features का मतलब है human activities also. कहाँ farming होता है, कहाँ पर mining है, कहाँ पर poor soil है, and therefore what? The age and the type of rock decides that. Okay, so the oldest rocks, the Archean rocks, more than 2.5 billion years. This is Chota Nagpur Plateau. This is Aravalli Ranges. This is southern Karnataka. This is hard rocks, resistant rocks, plateau regions, and mineral mining regions. Okay, the oldest rocks. आप इसको क्यों elaborate this? The oldest rocks, the Archean rocks, okay, more than 2.5 billion years old, found in Chhodnagpur Plateau, Aravalli ranges in parts of southern Karnataka, southern Dharwad regions. यही तो है आपके, okay, your Archean granites and the Dharwad sedimentaries. Archean granites and Dharwad sedimentaries plateau. That's one. Number two, Proterozoic rocks, about 1.5 billion years old. Okay, these are sedimentary metamorphosed rocks. You find them in Vindhyas, in Kadapa. These are limestones. These are metamorphosed stones. They are used for building constructions and marble mining. Limestone hai. Okay. These are metamorphosed stones, Kadapa stones. Okay. They're used for construction and also marble mining. Third, Gondwana rocks. Gondwana rocks around 180 million years old. This is the valleys. We have Damodar Valley, Mahanadi Valley, Narmada Valley, Godavari Valley, areas of rift, areas of coal fields. Rift valleys, areas of coal fields. Okay? Gondwana rocks. We have the Cretaceous rocks, about 65 million years old. ये कहाँ पर है? This is Deccan Lava Plateau. ये basalt है. They are formed black soils of India. ठीक है? So what they have done is, you have, this is locations. So locations are Maharashtra, Gujarat, you know it. So we have Trepan landscape, step-like landscape. We have flat-topped mountains. We have cotton cultivation, the black cotton soil. But this area also have poor groundwater. 5. Aryan rocks. Aryan rocks, these are the Aryan Cretaceous and Aryan tertiary rocks. कौन सा Dravidian rocks? They have some of it, but the bulk is Aryan tertiary rocks. In India, plateau में ज्यादातर Dravidian missing है. वो second question में आ जाएगा. These are Aryan tertiary rocks. They are younger than 60 million years old. Himalayas, Trans-Himalayas, Purvanchal hills, and you know, geologically active zones, steep slopes, soft sediments, marine sediments. ठीक है? High elevations, orographic rainfall, oil mining, oil drilling. Is it okay, all of you? This is the bulk of the answer. You can always add. The sixth one, rocks nahi hai, but we have the northern plains, sediment deposits, less than 1.5 2 million years. Alluvial plains, fertile plains, agriculture, soft sediments, whatever you want to add. So I presume इतना आपको पता है, okay? You can't say इस stage में आपको नहीं पता है. You must know the geological history of India. आपका question क्या था? दोबारा देखो. That the distribution of rocks of various ages. Whole distribution now कहाँ पर है? बता दिया आपको. Map and show all of this. Okay. So mountains का map, northern plains, the plateau regions, Vindhyas region, Dharwad पता तो maps बना देना है. Distribution is reflected in the geographical setting. Setting is all of this. Where found, what type of rocks, what properties, what human activities. There's very strong correlation between the geological history, the physiographic manifestations, and human activities. Inka relationship. Okay. So if I look at the structure, this storyline important hai. Structure is India has a tremendous diversity of geological history. India has a variety of landforms. There are mountains, there are plateaus, there are plains, there are old, Archean rocks, and they're young Pleistocene deposits. Ek paragraph mein say that India has diversity. This diversity is preserved in the geological formations and in the specific locations. The diversity hai. You can see this in the geological formations and you can see this in the specific locations. इसके बाद आपको एक डायग्राम बना देना है, मैप ऑफ इंडिया. टेल अस व्हाट रॉक इज वेयर, like the way we have discussed it. अब एक के बाद एक बताओ. I've told the table to you. टेबल में कितने हैं बताओ. टेबल में there are 5-6 of them, right? What you can do is you can probably write about 3 of them. Okay, so plateau बता दो, Himalayas बता दो. Maybe important you think is maybe RK and Dharwad बता दो. Remaining को table बना के, the way I've done table, do that and leave it. You save time. You can't discuss all in detail, correct? जहां पर आपके 3-4 ज्यादा पॉइंट बन गया, put some of them in table. Discussion रखो for the old Archean rocks, Dharwad rocks. Maybe discussion for the Himalayas रख लो. Cretaceous lava flow भी important रख लो, बाकी को डाल दो. Okay. And conclusion. Therefore, the geological diversity is also the basis of diversity of human activities. Mining, agriculture, okay, river-based activities. Fine, you are done. The same type of question is also question number 4. Question number 4. Though some initial structures of Peninsular India have disappeared due to prolonged denudation, yet the existing structure is competent enough to speak of its morphological features. Question number 4. It is through these questions I want to revise India geology with you. ठीक है? धारवाड़ काफी है, उतना स्पेस नहीं है, ना उतना टाइम है. Please don't think about writing everything. Pick up the more important one, the rest ignore if required. हम चाहेंगे कि ये 4-5 आंसर्स आप लिख के 2 पेज में बना के रख लो. Okay? Though some of the initial structure of Peninsular India have disappeared due to prolonged denudation, yet the existing structure is competent enough to speak of its morphological features. अब क्या है, पहला क्वेश्चन जो था ना ये वाला, it was about whole India. The second one is about plateau of India. यही फर्क. So now I will be more specific. I'll talk about Satpuras अलग से, मालवा अलग से, अरावलीज अलग से, मेघालय अलग से. Okay, I'll talk about Deccan lava plateau अलग से. Okay, so maybe Western Ghats अलग से बताएंगे आपको हम. Okay, but let me explain what sentence means. If you know about India's geological history, there is one section of history missing in India, which is the Dravidian rocks. The Paleozoic rocks are almost missing on the peninsular. Okay, let me see if the book mentions like that, or yeah, it's there. Khuller textbook, अगर आप okay. Page number 2.5. ये अगर आपका पुराना किताब है, chapter 2 देखो, maybe 4th-5th page देख लो. It's a green color one. इसके बाद एक और किताब आ चुका है. This year reprint. You might have an orange one, whatever. In my it's 2.5. Open chapter 2. 3rd, 4th page देखो. Here it is. The Dravidian rock system. Like most rocks of these systems are found in extra-peninsular region, and they're conspicuous by their absence in the Peninsular India, except for 1 or 2 small patches of lower Permian near Umaria. Umaria in parts of MP. ये वाला rock पूरा absent on the plateau. You find it some parts of Himalayas. And this statement is there in, I took whatever question I'm giving you from the book itself. Or page 41. Thank you, Mansi. In the old book, it is page 41. Here, Geomorphology of India Singh, page number 317. Okay, yes, sentence. In fact, I'll suggest you can read these 2-3 pages. Geological structure, it says, geological structure plays an important role in the evolution of the landscapes. Though some of the initial structure of Peninsular India have disappeared due to prolonged denudation, yet the existing structure is competent enough to speak of its morphological features. Is asking you a very simple thing. बहुत कुछ जा चुका है, लेकिन जितना बचा हुआ है, that tells us a lot about what we have in terms of geomorphological features. Same thing. Elevation क्या है? Slope, sediments क्या है? What type of rock structure? Okay. And what type of human activities, if any? So I picked up this sentence right from here. Write a note on that. Okay. So remember this, that in India, the Dravidian rocks I'm assuming you know this. Let me help you revise maybe. Yes, 317 I think. क्या बताया? 317. First column, last but 2 paragraphs. 317. So if you know this geological time scale, हम बना देते हैं एक बार. This is the pre-Cambrian times. Okay. You have Hadean times, Archean times, Proterozoic times, and Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and the Archean times in Indian system are called as Archean. This is called as Purana times. यहाँ से यहाँ तक somewhere around Carboniferous तक इसको बोलते हैं Dravidian times. यहाँ से mid Mesozoic, this is called as Gondwana times. इसके बाद this is called as Aryan times. ये जो Cretaceous times हैं ये भी इसी का ही पार्ट है. This is the late Cretaceous times. Deccan lava flow हुआ है. Fine. ये जो a time है, this time, these rocks are missing on the plateau. Dravidian rocks, they are missing on the plateau. Some in Himalayas हैं, because these got eroded and they were lost. Eroded and lost. ठीक है? So your answer will be same idea. Archean times, Dharwad rocks, Aravalis, okay, and southern Karnataka and Chodnagpur plateau. आप इसको थोड़ा सा describe कर देंगे. A bit more detail because it's only about the Archean times, the oldest rocks. ये rocks को बोलते हैं Khondalite rocks, Charnockite rocks. ये है Eastern Ghats, much denuded, discontinuous. ठीक है? Proterozoic rocks, Vindhyas. Talk about Vindhyan ranges. Kadapa also. Okay. अब आप इसमें एक और चीज करना है. Because asking you about the geomorphological features. Okay. You must talk about rocks, geology, location, features. Now, as in landforms, the morphological features क्या हैं? Aravalis are fold mountains. They are ridges. Karnataka and these are plateaus. These are highlands. Resistant rocks हैं. ये features हैं. Okay. Eastern Ghats, denuded, discontinuous हैं. Almost flattened. ठीक है? So you must talk about some features. Vindhyas, again the ranges. Yes, right. Dravidian rocks missing on the plateau. Gondwana systems, ये faults हैं. Same thing. Godavari, Narmada, Mahanadi, rift valleys, coal fields, lava flow regions, lava flow of the Cretaceous regions. Same idea, black cotton soil. And finally talk about two features. One is Western Ghats. These are tilted edges. They have normal faults. These are continuous along the western side, formed because of faulting and subsidence. I'm presuming you know these things. Okay. Otherwise, like I said, take the class notes and देख लो एक बार जो भी है. This can't be taught at this stage. And next to talk about is the Rajmahal Garo gap. Because of subsidence, you have the separation of Meghalaya. This is your broad content. अब लिखना कैसे है? Okay? Structure कैसे होगा? Plateau is old. Plateau is a cratonic block. The soft rocks are largely eroded. These are resistant, hard rocks. The Dravidian sequence is missing. एक paragraph में write this down. Okay? Old block, cratonic block. It was part of Gondwana land around 90 to 100 million years ago. It separated from Madagascar. About 90 to 100 million years ago, the plateau separated from Madagascar. So briefly, because old rocks, the soft rocks have been eroded. That is why the Dravidian sequence is missing. Okay. But there are other features which are preserved, the denudation chronology of Peninsular India. The other features are preserved in the denudation chronology of Peninsular India. You can draw the map of India, of the plateau. You can show the area. This, Vindhyas, Aravalis, the Ghats, the Eastern Ghats here, Meghalaya plateau here, Nagpur plateau here. बता दो ये कौन से age में क्या बना था? In one map, Archean formations, Cretaceous formations. These are Gondwana formations. These are the oldest rocks. Okay, Dharwad. जो बताया table में बता दो इसमें आप. You are done. Or you also have side में this geological time scale that I have drawn here. Okay, what rocks, what rocks, what rock, this is missing, this is there, this is there. Show it like that. Uske baad, okay, quickly show that the following rocks and their properties are in the morphological features. 1, 2, 3. Don't go beyond 4 generally, because फिर you can't manage properly. So maybe Archean bata dena, Gondwana bata do. You can talk about Cretaceous lava flow maybe. Okay? And the rest you may put as a table. Okay? Conclusion that the above rocks, their features are part of India's okay, economic resources, mining resources, oil, groundwater, old stable blocks hain, but there are faults. Okay, the faults, Latur fault. Latur fault is Osmanabad. Okay, you can draw a map here and show this. Jabalpur fault, Latur fault, Bhuj fault. This is Latur near Osmanabad. You also have Koina. This is your RIS. This is Jabalpur fault. This is Bhuj and Alaband fault. Okay, the geological features includes the old faults and the earthquake zones of the plateau. ये भी add कर सकते part of features. Latur fault near Osmanabad, Koina, RIS, Jabalpur fault, Jabalpur earthquakes, Bhuj earthquake, Alaband fault. All done. In fact, earthquakes pe you just go ready. They might RIS full form, reservoir induced seismicity because of the Koina dam. अब देखो question समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं? Though some of the initial structures of the Peninsular India have disappeared, yet the existing structure is competent enough to speak of its morphological features. One suggestion to all of you, I have not told this to you, or maybe I haven't remembered. There's something called as telescopic writing. You don't need case study for this, sort of. You don't need for this one. Yes, I'll give you some from geomorphology, from other portions I'll give you. Now see, ये क्या है? Your answer may, because of time constraints and because of the amount of content, you don't need to write complete sentence with grammatical clarity. जरूरत नहीं है. So, India, tremendous geological diversity. Rocks of Precambrian and Paleozoic, but Dravidian missing. Okay. Geological history responsible for features and economic activity. So, जो is, the, and a हटा सकते हो. Okay. Practice this. I have met enough number of people with good marks who have written like this. ये GS में भी है, ये option. You don't have to get into too much of grammar. Say Aryan rocks. Young after Gondwana includes Himalayas, northern plains, and the Cretaceous lava flow. That's all. Okay? Gondwana rocks, rift valleys, Godavari, Mahanadi, Son. Draw a quick diagram. Show this one here. Coal fields of India. That's all. We call this as telescopic writing. Shorten the sentences. Okay, you don't have to write elaborate paragraphs with is, at, the, and. Preserve that for your essays writing. Is it okay, all of you? Any questions here? No. All the questions, people. All questions. So this is one suggestion for today's class, that please write telescopically. That's one. Second is, don't draw complete map. Draw regions. Okay. So don't draw pura India ka map with all the regions. Zarurat nahi hai. Okay. You just draw this Aravalis. Okay. You just draw this Western Ghats. Okay. Vindhyas. Chhod do baki. You just draw this Meghalaya Plateau, Chonnagpur Plateau, Rajmahal Garo Hills. So learn to draw many diagrams, small ones, and distribute. You don't have to, write, and draw detailed maps. Dekho, for example, watch this. If I draw a complete map like this, pura map banaya, and Vindhyas, Satpuras, this, Meghalaya, you have got the Bastar region, this is the black cotton soil region, and I must label everything, right? ये सब करने में I will take 5 or 6 minutes. इससे अच्छा है Deccan Lava Plateau and start writing your answer. Okay. Western Ghats, say something here, your answer. Okay. Aravallis, something, your answer. If you run short of time, don't draw the remaining maps. But answer में क्या हुआ? आपका 3 डायग्राम दिखाई दे रहा है ना? इसमें क्या है? एक डायग्राम है, lot of details. But what has got compromised is your writing has compromised. So, all of you here? So don't compromise your writing. Diagram छोटा बनाओ, part बनाओ, और एक आध छोड़ देना. I don't make a diagram for Rajmahal Garo Gap. You draw a diagram for Vindhyas, Aravallis, Western Ghats, Black Cotton. बाकी छोड़ दो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. So ये दो आपका learning from today's class. Telescopic writing and writing with small discontinuous maps. ठीक है? Okay. This question I discussed in some ways. I'm leaving this question of monsoons wala. Okay, monsoon because it's for the climatology topic, not now. You can ignore it for now. Come this one. Himalayan glacial retreat can have potential implications on river capture and river shifting. Discuss. Himalayan glacial retreat can have potential implications for river capture and river shifting. I've discussed this part in last class. I hope you remember that one. Last part में क्या है? अब मैं इसमें कुछ add कर दूंगा. Take it like data and facts from my side. Because Himalayan glaciers and Karakoram glaciers, I have a feeling, अगर नहीं भी पूछेगा, you can use the data tremendously. And I am referring to one of the research papers, जो अभी recent छपा है. It's a paid one, forget it. It's about the geological and the glacial change in Himalayas and Karakoram. Because I think irrelevant hoga in some way or the other. Okay, so just write the amount richness part, extra part. The first is, remember that there are 2 sets of glaciers in India. I'm giving you facts. Okay, इसको कैसे use करना है? You can always debate on that. There are 2 sets of glaciers in India. There are Karakoram glaciers and there are Himalayan glaciers. Together इसको बोलते हैं HK, glaciers of South Asia. Okay, they're part of HKH. HKH का मतलब होता है Hindu Kush and Himalayas. ये terms use करना है आंसर में. HK glaciers of India, Karakoram glaciers, Hindu Kush and Himalayan glaciers. This area is also referred to as, also called as HMA. HMA is High Mountain Asian Glaciers. HMA glaciers are High Mountain Asian Glaciers. Next fact. In totality, these glaciers are more than 40,000 square kilometers. The 40,000 square kilometers. Okay. These glaciers are the largest ice and fresh water resources. They're the largest ice and fresh water resources outside the Arctic and the Antarctic systems. Outside the Arctic and the Antarctic systems. Next, Himalayan and Karakoram, HK glaciers. Himalayan and Karakoram, they make up more than 50% of. They make up more than 50% of all HMA, all High Mountain Asian. They make up 50% of all High Mountain Asian water towers. HMA water. So HMA water tower क्या होता है? All the glaciers of Kulun Shan, glaciers of Purvanchal Hills, glaciers of Hindu Kush, glaciers of your Elburz and Zagros mountains, सारा एशिया को ऐड कर दो. Himalayan and Karakoram make up almost 50% of. It's called as the water towers of the world. ठीक है? Next लिखो आप. Next write down. With almost 1.5 degrees to almost 1.5 degrees of global temperature increase, in the next 5-6 decades, the HMA and the HK glaciers, can lose 30 to 40% of its glaciers and ice. Next fact, the Himalayan glaciers are more vulnerable. Iska 3 reason hai. Why are Himalayan glaciers more vulnerable? Number 1 is Himalayas are relatively warmer and will be more impacted than Karakoram. Himalayan regions are warmer and will be more impacted by Karakoram. Then the reason, see, Himalayas receive more rains from the summer monsoon months. Okay? Southwest monsoon months, southwest monsoon winds, Arabian Sea branch and the Bay of Bengal branch, they rise up on the slopes and they cause rains. The summer monsoon months ka matlab hai summer season mein ho raha hai, when temperatures are more. The ice and snowfall is less in case of Himalayan precipitation. Whereas Karakoram receives more from the western disturbances, जो कि होता है winters में. That's why Karakoram glaciers, okay, they are less likely to melt compared to Himalayan glaciers. एक fact आपको जानना चाहिए. I don't know, a certain reasoning prelims that the Karakoram glaciers, they receive rains from the western disturbances in the winters by STWJ, the westerly winds. The winters mein snowfall hoga aapka, but not Himalayas. This is one reason. Second reason is Himalayas are steeper, and there is more of ice loss because of the steep slopes. There's more of ice loss because of the steep slopes. And third, the Himalayas have more human activities. Next, the HK glaciers, are the mountains, they're all fold mountains, sedimentary wale hain, and young hai, not as consolidated as other mountains. Okay? So the Himalayan mountains and Karakoram, HK mountains, they have sedimentary deposits, softer sediments. So glacial melts have a higher debris component. More sediments hota hai. They have higher debris component that increases more insolation absorption. It increases more insolation absorption. Basically, albedo kam ho jata hai. So if there are sediments, they can absorb more heat, and that's why they can melt more. Ye jo content hai is like a case study. Himalayan glaciers case study. Acha, kuch aur date fact likho aap. Write down. In the last 3 decades, Himalayan glaciers have receded. 10 to 15% faster than the other global glaciers. 10 to 15% faster than the other global glaciers. So Alps mein hai, Rockies and Andes mountains mein hai. Himalayan glaciers are receding faster. Ek reason hai, maybe because the South Asia has more population, more activities, the average warming is higher. Okay. Plus South Asia is impacted more by the monsoon fluctuations. Last 2 or 3 decades, the loss of glaciers, HK region mein highest hai, 10-15% more than the glacial loss in other glaciers of the world. Next fact. Historically, 4 rivers have changed their course. 4 rivers have changed their course by geological and climatic changes, because of geological and climatic changes. वो 4 rivers क्या हैं? The middle and the lower reaches of Brahmaputra. Second is Satluj and Jhelum river. Satluj not directly is to flow into Arabian Sea. Now it goes and joins the Indus system. Otherwise, in the geological past, Satluj would directly flow into the Arabian Sea like this. Jhelum also was flowing like this. Indus was here, but ये यहाँ join करके यहाँ join कर. Okay, and Brahmaputra in this part there has been fluctuations, north south हुआ है while turning here. Okay, so Brahmaputra has changed course, Satluj has changed course, Jhelum has changed course, and even river Kosi and Teesta. That's not a part of the Himalayan system. That is again geological. Okay, not linked to glaciers. Nahi. Next one, down. Because of their history of river shifting, and river capture. जैसे कि Satluj river was captured by Jhelum. Jhelum got captured by Indus system. वैसे ही Teesta got captured by Brahmaputra. Otherwise, Teesta was part of the Ganga system. And you know, Kosi keeps on shifting. Because of the history of river shifting and river capture, these rivers are vulnerable to changes in their river regimes and hydrological flow. They are vulnerable to changes in their river regimes and changes in their hydrological flow. Basically, इनका basin जो है ना, the basin is unstable basin. They have got soft sediments. Or shift holes, there could be remnants of old channels. Okay, it's like the river was flowing like this. Okay, now it has gone like this. But ये remnant channel तो है ना आपका कहीं ना कहीं, तो हल्का सा change होगा, ये again इधर आ जाएगा. That's one of the fears. That if there are changes in the hydrological channels, it can impact the river flow courses also. Okay. And further, both Indus and Satluj had more eastward origin. अभी से कहां से आ रहे हैं? They come from parts of Raka's Mansarovar Lake, right? यहाँ पर है, यहीं से Indus है, यहीं से Satluj है. What I'm saying is, इनका origin was further eastwards. They already have moved and receded like this. Okay, so these are vulnerable to further recessions. Okay, one more fact: the middle Himalayan rivers and the glaciers of Gangotri and Yamunotri, are also more vulnerable. So we have examples of Alaknanda also shifting courses, and also vulnerable shifting course. It can impact the Ganga river regime. ये आपका देखो, these kind of things you can't bluff. If I ask you general, write a note on the Himalayan rivers origin or whatever, write a note on river capture. Remember last time I talked about river capture, headward erosion, river shifting, meandering. ये हो जाएगा आपका, no problem here. But when I ask you specifically write about Himalayan rivers, आपको ये काम आ जाएगा data. And remember this is like, you know, your convenient facts. ये use कर सकते हो climate change के any case study में. You can use this, how it can impact water resources downstream. You can use this, how it impact human activities. इतने लिए क्या जाना? Case study Himalayan rivers and the high mountain Asian water towers. लिख लेना आप. और ये आर्टिकल का नाम लिखना चाहो तो लिख लो आप, if you want to write down. Okay. Otherwise जाने दो. I mean, you can ignore it. It's a 30-page article, research article है, published in Nature Reviews and Earth. I think forget about it. You just write down this data. That's good enough. Fine, all of you. So I think you have your next practice test tomorrow now. Please, my request to all of you. I'm really happy to see many of you come yesterday and give your test. Okay. आप लोग please momentum बिगाड़ो नहीं अपना. I know it's not easy, but who said UPSC was easy? Prelims निकाले हैं. Like a matter of 2 months, कम आप लोग मेहनत कर रहे हो. Some of you from 2 or 3 years मेहनत कर रहे हो. 2 महीना, 2 months जान लगा दो इसमें and memorize, and you'll have a sense of progress also. आपको खुद अच्छा लगेगा यार 30 आंसर मार लिया, 15 आंसर मार लिया, आपको अच्छा. Don't relent. कल भी आप आए, sit for 3 hours and write down. And again my invitation to you. I know आप अपने आप कर रहे हैं GS also, but please write answers in GS also like this. Again, रट्टा मारो, अपने आप लिखना लिखो. Don't enter the examination without writing practice. आपके हाथ से this guy Shubham, Preksha, They said, sir, I have forgotten the count of how many answers I had by hearted. Okay, 2, 3, 400, 700, 1000 answers. Okay, 2 साल में shared by hearted. The same thing Shubham says, इतना याद हो चुका था मुझे, I could easily come, drop and draw and write down. Okay, so this is what. Okay, आपके class में ही है, some of you have qualified, some of you have good marks also. Okay, so share whatever you have done with your friends if you can. Okay, so you know the technique more or less. Now उस पे आप अमल करो. That's all. So give your test tomorrow. आज रात भर पढ़ना है, पढ़ो. कल first half में don't have a class with me. You can sit down and study. और एक घंटे में ना 2-3 आप निकाल लोगे. And the moment I say telescopic writing, फिर तो आपका problem solve हो गया ना. Just the keywords, important sentences, diagram, practice करके go and vomit on the paper. I have a problem, I'll take up in the next class. Okay? So all the best, all of you. Yeah. Focus more on the practice test questions. जो आपको मैंने 15 क्वेश्चन दिया हुआ है, ये पहले करना practice test, उसके बाद उठाना the other answers of 30 of them I have given you. And I've tried covering all topics of India physical. Soil भी है, vegetation भी है, cyclones भी है, तो उसको हटा के बाकी कर लो आप लोग यार. Okay, fine. Sorry, mapping के लिए I'll do that. So we have this geography current affairs का publication. So last 6-7 महीने में all the places in news I'll compile and give it to you. Okay, and I cannot do so. Well, ask if one of the mentors can help practice maps with you. But I think उतना fight होना नहीं चाहिए. 10 में से try marking 5 or 6 of them. And all of you must have access to those video classes on maps. Okay, I'll see if I have the accurate or not. और उतना ही देख के चले जाना. आप हर दिन अगर 2-3 देखकर videos हैं. Okay, I've drawn the line. Some of you have done all of that already. उतना करके जाओ. Plus the current affairs I'll add for you. ठीक है, about 50, 60 या 100 तक होगा entries. You can be through with that. I'll do that for you. ठीक? Okay, all of you. Thanks.